Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode. This week I'm sitting here with Base and ZenAku, going by the name of Harry Jaws, and we also have Soul here, who's going to be sort of like a translator for when it's needed. So yeah, welcome, guys. Pleasure to have all of you here.
Hi there, guys.
Good to be here, and thanks for having us, Jacob.
Yeah, pleasure is always on my side. Yeah, so I'm gonna jump into it straight away. I'm gonna try to ask the same question to every duo that I'm interviewing. And the first question is, how did you guys find each other, Base and Seneca? How did this duo come to be? You know, 'Cause it's interesting to me. It's a very interesting duo.
Originally, actually, Base had messaged me that if we wanted to play together, but I'm a bit curious if Base knew that Tox wasn't going to play, because it was quite a coincidence that he had messaged me. And actually, Base doesn't know, but before, because if Tox wasn't going to play, I was already thinking to myself, did I really want to keep playing with twos if I couldn't find someone to play with? And I actually prayed, and I said, God, if you want me to still play, then let somebody come to me. And then coincidentally enough, you want to call it that, Base messages me the next day and says, hey, do you want to play? So, I mean, that's kind of a message to say I'll keep playing. And I'm actually really happy he did, so.
Okay, yeah, and Base, you can go ahead and
My version now.
yeah.
Ну, значит, во-первых, он похож на Виталика из соседнего дома. Ну, то есть, я знал, что как бы ощущение, что я с ним уже играл.
Саш, ты тогда останавливайся, да? Я буду переводить, да?
Да.
На Виталика какого? Right, so Alex is saying, well, first of all, ZenAku is looking like a Vitalik. This is like a very common Russian name, as my neighbor from a different flat.
Да, из детства мы с ним играли вместе.
From the childhood that we used to play together.
Да. Это первое в связи с чем мы объединились.
This is the first reason why we joined together.
А второе, я вообще планировал играть либо с CNZ, либо со Strong Sage.
Second reason, initially I've been planning to play with the CNZ or Strong Sage. Or Strong Sage.
Strong Sage, да. С толстячком нашим хорошеньким. Это не обязательно переводить. Но Strong Sage ушел в КС, а CNZ мне сказал, говорит, слушай, так ZenAku сейчас как раз вот мне писал, и он говорит, играть мне не с кем, он свободен. И после этого я написал ZenAku.
So, since the Strong Sage completely went to the KS playing, right, and CNZ responded that basically, listen, so just spoken with ZenAku, and he doesn't have the player to play with. So that's the reason why I wrote to David, ZenAku.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so he was planning on playing with Strong Sage or CNC, but none of it happened, so it became ZenAku.
Ну, я не планировал играть 2 на 2, я просто в последний поезд запрыгнул так, потому что я понимал, что уже все, Quake, плох, болеет.
I didn't plan to compete with the TDM, like two versus two. But that was like I was jamming the last train because, basically the Pro League is closed. It's it's ending, so that was kind of a lost opportunity to do some competitive stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and we'll go into more of that later, about the whole 2v2 format and everything. But one thing that I also find interesting is the different ways that teams work in Quake right now, that the teams that we see, how their dynamic is. If there's some teams have a very strong leader, some teams have they have a strong leader and they have a fragger, basically, someone who's like more of a passive role. And then some teams, as we can see, for example, Sirius and Celts, who are just basically running around. And I even asked them if they wanted to do an interview, and they said that, well, we don't have anything to say because we don't have a strategy. So what is the dynamic like in your team between the two of you?
I think, to be honest, we're still kind of figuring out how we want to play. Generally, I think we both take turns in like who's leading the game. I think, funnily enough, in practice, we were kind of struggling a bit, but when we played the tournament, like the second KeenCon tournament, we came third, and I think in that tournament we kind of realized if we just communicated more, even if we didn't necessarily know the general gist of it, and that's why that funny clip of Base understanding fucking them up, he was under like that clip was because I was saying even if he didn't know what I was saying, he understood the tone and the intensity, and he understood, okay, he's doing damage or he's doing something, you know. But yeah, I think we're still figuring things out, and yeah, sometimes it's actually hard for me to understand how Base is feeling, because something will happen in the game and I have to understand, is he pissed off at me or is he pissed off at the other guy? And it's hard to actually know. I think, Sol, maybe actually could you translate that for Base and see maybe just especially the thing about not knowing what he's pissed off at. Actually, it's hard to know.
Yeah, I'll try. So it's a bit difficult to translate when you're taking a long conversation, but I'll try to summarize it.
Подожди секунду, это что у нас? Вот мы в кабинете у психолога?
Are we with the psychologists? Is it kind of like a session therapy? Base is asking.
Can be. It's just like, trying to be closer. Like, Base, you betrayed me that one time. You stole Mega, you son of a...
Ты меня предал, когда ты там украл Мегу, ты помнишь, сукин сын?
А сколько раз он съебал с Меги, когда я его просил оставаться?
How much you've been living this position? Many times I ask you to be there.
Yeah. I understand.
То есть Дэвид попросил перевести... Ну, ты понял, Саш, про что был вопрос? Вопрос...
Я даже не слушал, если честно.
В общем... sorry, Dave, how should I call defense? By name or just by the nickname?
You mean...
It's whatever.
Yeah.
Defense.
Okay, I'll call by nickname, yeah. То есть defense задал вопрос, в связи с тем, что психология команд абсолютно, как бы разная у разных команд. Кто-то выбирает себе там стратега, там другой игрок — это набиратель фрагов. Он привел также пример, к примеру, я хотел пригласить интервью этого Аймера, помоги мне сказать, который первое место заняли. На интервью, на что они ответили, нам, в принципе, нечего сказать. Мы просто бегаем, блядь, вокруг, типа карт. На что Дэвид добавил, что да, несмотря на то, что у нас как бы не точное понимание идет, в плане языкового барьера, да, то есть там с английским языком, тем не менее, он говорит, иногда я не могу понять твою по интонации, на кого ты сердишься. То есть, как бы, блядь, то ли я накосячил, нахуй, то ли, блядь, оппонент. И вот это иногда, в принципе, бывает довольно сложным моментом, да, а в остальном вроде мы как бы там вот друг друга понимаем и довольно как бы хорошо сыгрываемся. Вот так вот сказал. Ну, это вкратце, да, там.
А мне нужно отвечать на что-то?
So Paige is asking, should I respond to that question? I mean, from my side, you just didn't understand. Ну, то есть тебя спросили...
Просто такое ощущение, что ZenAku вопрос дал. Ну, давай ZenAku тогда отвечу. Пусть он не волнуется.
I will answer this to ZenAku. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Можно сказать, что я, кстати, тоже не понимаю, почему ZenAku так много извиняется в игре.
I also don't understand why ZenAku apologizes so much in the game.
I'm just trying to take responsibility. It's my personality, maybe.
Это просто моя черта характера. Я принимаю на себя ответственность больше, наверное, за это.
Yeah, just a humble guy. That's what it is.
Душка.
So the language is definitely an interesting part, because when you're playing, you're obviously like communicating in English, right? And has it been improving over time? Are you like, because I can assume that you're sort of learning ways to work around this barrier that you have with English, right? I've seen on stream like the way that you speak. The way that you speak about certain things and the way like the call outs and everything. Yeah, does it feel like it's improving? Is he still learning a lot?
I'll say Base. I'll let Base answer the question. Do you think Base, are we improving in communication, or how are we, like, since when we started and when we play now, did we get better communication wise?
I think yes. Ну, не семимильными, конечно, шагами, просто по чуть-чуть.
Not with a big step with the same miles, but yeah, a little bit, step by step. So I think yes, we improved.
That's
Я
good
на
to
русский не переводить,
Мы
да?
стали, по крайней мере, больше смеяться в игре, это уже плюс.
Start more, well, basically more having a laugh. So it's a big positive plus, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think hopefully by November, Base will be. He may not be fluent in English, but he will say all sorts of shit. You know, he will say all sorts of expressions, and you know, he will understand what I'm saying, even if he doesn't know everything.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Говорят, что ты, даже несмотря на то, что можешь что-то непонятно на английском, но по моим экспрессиям ты все равно понимаешь, что за хератория происходит в игре или какие-то
Но я не
определенные вещи.
понимаю, когда он говорит до сих пор, когда он говорит 33 или 44.
Что говорит? Да.
Когда он говорит 33 или 43, я до сих пор не понимаю. Для меня это одно и то же.
So sometimes, well, I still don't understand when you say 33 or 43. For me, it's the same timing.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and I will also say something that I've noticed when I was working with Kirill CNC. He was under my team for almost 2 years, and I remember when I first signed him and when we had our first meetings and stuff, his English was very, very basic, and then just over the course of 2 years he learned so much. And then I remember in Dallas when I met him there, he was pretty much speaking like super fluently. It was like a completely different language almost. It was so cool to see.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot can happen, and you do learn a lot when you like have to when you're forced to communicate in these tough situations and so on. That's when you learn the best. I think that's the stuff that sticks to you.
Can I quickly ask Base a question?
Mm.
Okay. On Monday, you said to your wife, "I'm sick of your bullshit." How did it go after? Does she understand?
В понедельник ты сказал своей жене, что за хуйня, да? Что было с тобой после этого?
Ну, она просто подумала, что я играю, вот и все.
She just thought he's playing as usual.
That's just fucking around. That's it is.
Okay, cool. So this is a question for Base actually. Ever since the QPL, well, how do you call it, ban, or well, ever since he was excluded from the QPL and so on, he hasn't really been. He's only been playing the community tournaments and obviously the RESP, the RASP tournaments and stuff like that. But considering that he's now back playing on an international level and internationally more than ever, I would say. How does it feel to be back and also to play on this level again? Because obviously, yeah, I mean, he might have a chance to go to LAN as well, right? So it's going to be pretty big.
То есть вопрос тебе, Саш. Ну, все мы знаем с течением последних обстоятельств в связи с тем, что, ну, как называется, забанили вас с лиги или исключили.
Ну, я понял. Он сказал, как мне вернуться опять на ланы или что?
То есть акцент был на то, что ты, в принципе, часто после этого играл онлайн-турниры, да, комьюнити-турниры, вот те же RESP, которые устраивали. А сейчас ты снова играешь на интернациональном уровне, да, и у тебя к тому же появляется возможность, скорее всего, поехать на LAN в Барселону. И как ты себя с этим чувствуешь, ощущаешь?
Ну, во-первых, RESP, он был интернационален.
Well, first of all, RESP, it's been an international level. That's
true.
И с Рейзи мы там дважды играли.
And I've been playing against Razy 2 times.
И ZenAku, и Макстер, и Кельс, Сайфер.
You understand? Cypher,
соответственно, я не могу сказать то, что я прям выбился полностью из high-level игр.
So, therefore, I couldn't say that I was completely dropped off, you know, the high-level games and this international level.
Конечно, мотивация, совершенно другая уже. К игре нету того огня.
Yeah, the motivation and enthusiasm is basically is decreased, but you can't compare as it was before, right? With this kind of a passion that we had.
А касаемо данного турнира, то, что есть возможность поехать в Испанию на турнир, я это рассматриваю как, наверное, рыбалку какую-то.
And as in regards to this tournament, that I've got an ability to, you know, visit Barcelona, to go to LAN. I'm considering this as, you know, go fishing.
Но рыбалка, она не совсем такого формата, что ты там типа full отдых. Ты там конкретно как бы рыбу ловишь.
But the fishing, not in this context like a normal classical way of fishing that you having to relax, and fish.
Вот.
Going bow fish, but
Ну и для меня это просто классный движ. Я люблю игру, я люблю компетитив. И надеюсь, что просто все сложится.
and for me, it's actually cool stuff, because it's again something is happening, and I love the game. I like those things when they're going on, like the LAN, and hopefully everything gonna be all right. I'm gonna be able to visit the LAN.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that. So we're gonna move on to the next question. This is also something I'm planning to ask everyone because I don't know, maybe I just think this is interesting, but in terms of practice, when you've been practicing, who have you been practicing with the most? You think, if it's possible to respond to?
Maybe probably the Russian guys. I think maybe Pasita, Pepko, and Antoshka Stone. We've been playing the most. I think. Base, what do you think? Who did we play with the most?
Больше с кем мы играем?
Да,
Да, я
спросили,
вообще...
с кем мы практиковали больше всего.
Я считаю, что мы не практикуем, а просто поигрываем.
I think I consider we're not practicing. We're actually just playing.
Well,
Потому
we've
что в
been
моем
playing-
понимании, практиковаться это, совершенно это анализ, работа и уделение больше времени.
Because in my attitude and my understanding, to be practicing, you give it completely, way more time for analysis, for the work together, spending way more time, on this kind of a challenge.
Но с другой стороны, понятно, сейчас не приоритет.
On the other side, we understand it's not priority.
Соответственно, то есть, да, мы играем просто с кем вот получится. В большинстве случаев с Пасито и с Антошкой.
So therefore, we're trying to play against who we can. So who's available. So most of the time, that's Pasita and Toshka.
And who do you think the objectively hardest opponent is?
И как ты думаешь, кто самый, в принципе, сложный оппонент из них всех? С кем тяжелее играть?
Наверное, с дисбалансом игровым.
I think with the game disbalance.
Я имею в виду то, что в 2 на 2 очень сильно решает Railgun.
I mean, that team play 2 versus 2, the most important thing is the Railgun.
Ну, соответственно, кто владеет Railgun'ом большим процентом, тот имеет больше превосходства.
So therefore, those who own the Railgun as a gun, most of the game, has more possibility of winning the game as a chance.
I think definitely cheaters. I mean, Kelton Sirius just because of how much they're hitting. And I think it's one of the, like I said, like you were saying earlier, Jacob, they maybe don't have a strategy, but somehow because they're hitting that much, it doesn't really seem to matter. But how can I say? I mean, we practiced with them the other day, and maybe I'm not sure how serious they were taking it, but we had a few close games, and I think if we tidied up our communication, maybe we could actually have a better chance. But yeah, they're seeming like the best team at the moment.
Yeah, and you briefly touched on it. This is we're coming towards the end of the interview, but this is something that I also find interesting about the different metas in 2v2, like what the standard play and so on, and the style of play that is the most common. And right now it seems that we have Sirius and Kelts at top, and we have RMV Dramis. Like they're 1 and 2, they're both really like rail heavy, aim heavy players. Not much of a strategy, just basically go frag. Do you think this is a meta that will stay in like throughout the whole year, or is this something that's only working now that it's still early days? Because people are practicing a lot, and that everything is going to be more refined the longer we go.
What do you? I'll answer first, and then after, if you want to, yeah. I think it feels a lot to be dependent on the maps. I mean, obviously every tournament we've had so far is slightly different maps, which may not seem like much, but it's so funny because Base and I did, like, we were laughing because we were playing Dark Zone. We're thinking, why are we playing this map? And then turns out Dark Zone is our best map, and we win because we play Dark Zone. So thank you for that. But to be honest, I think it's going to stay the same. Maybe on LAN, people are a bit more nervous and it's harder to hit the shots. But for the time being, like, just that style and online play, if you are hitting lots of damage, it doesn't matter how smart you are. The guy is just, cleaning you up. So I'll probably see that for a little while, and maybe closer to the tournament, we might see people play very defensive, and then maybe it might change to a different attitude. So.
Okay.
Вопрос, который задавали, Саш, Defense говорил, что, мы все знаем то, что очень зависит от мета игроков, которые играют 2 на 2. И вот в связи с тем, что делается сильный упор, акцент на стрельбу, сейчас лидирует это вот Sirius, кем играет, не помню, и вторые там РМВ с кем-то играют, вот они сейчас ведут, да?
Да.
И как ты считаешь, это изменится в дальнейшем, то, что сейчас все-таки тренируется команда, и может ли что-то поменяться местами? Или ты же придерживаешься того мнения, что все-таки стрельба в этой дисциплине сильно решает, ничего не поменяется?
Ну, я думаю, что просто баланс текущий очень хороший под 1 на 1.
Баланс
баланс текущий дэмэджа пушек, он хороший под дуэли.
So the current balance of the game, if we considering as the hitting by the gun, 1 versus 1 is good.
Вот, соответственно, когда мы играем 2 на 2,
so therefore, when we play 2 versus 2,
там, я считаю, что вот представь, вот 2 на 2 с ракетой ты очень мало делаешь, как это сказать-то, импакта, да.
So imagine like 2 versus 2 with a rocket launcher. The impact that you make is very few, right?
Соответственно, больше решает машина, рейл и шафт. А в дуэлях ты пользуешься всем, да.
So the most important guns are like... so меньше решает машина, да, или больше решает машина?
Больше решает, больше.
So the most important, the more impact you're getting from those guns is the machine gun, super machine gun, and lightning gun. But 1 versus 1 is actually all guns.
Соответственно, я думаю, что метод те, кто хорошо именно с этих пушек владеют, стреляют, они имеют больше преимущества просто.
So those players, no matter who's shooting from with those guns the best, they have the most, possibility of better chances of winning.
И ничего не поменяется до турнира.
Until the LAN. Ну да, Давид тоже говорил, что по его мнению, что очень много зависит от самого лана, когда будет реальная игра.
Так плюс-минус одинаково. В 2 на 2 просто нету стресса, как в дуэлях.
It's just the 2 versus 2, there is no so much stress as when you play alone, playing 1 versus 1.
Соответственно, и попадать проще, потому что доджи как таковые тоже отсутствуют. Все прямолинейно бегают.
It's hitting way easier because there is no dodge. Dodge moves, they're not so many.
Ну, соответственно, я не думаю, что что-то глобально поменяется.
So I don't think something globally will change. It will remain the same.
All right, cool. So, final question, and I think actually you touched on this a little bit before, but both of you. But okay, so the first tournament, March, you finished top 12. Not a particularly good start, I would say. But then the second tournament, you finished top 3. If you, this might be hard to answer, but if you can pinpoint what changed, and why did you get this big improvement?
I think we had, I think when we first played that first tournament, we hadn't even played that long. I think we were still kind of figuring things out. But also on top of that, we had a pretty hard bracket, so to speak. I think we played in that first tournament, we got Rafa Maxter in round 2 or 3. And then we got to the lower bracket, played one game, and then we got Gilson and Avik, and those are two very experienced teams. But then on the second tournament, we played like an easy, like just I think a Spanish team. Then we played Buxter Garpy, Inns. So sometimes the seeding is very weird because we played Inns and Qbert round 3. Not saying that they're necessarily a bad team, but we played them later on where you would have thought we played them earlier. Then we had that really good game versus Rafa Maxter. So I think we just had a better run, but I think generally the first month we didn't get a chance to practice that much. And then month 2, we had the whole month to really practice Dark Zone, if you know what I mean. Really just master. So, yeah.
I'll give Base a chance to respond to that as well, if he wants to.
Такой вопрос. Ты спросил...
Ну, глобально я понял, что поменялось.
Аудитория, не знаю, поняла, не поняла для твоего стрима. Перевести нет?
Да не нужно. Что поменялось, да, между первым и вторым турниром квалификации?
Да, то есть первый топ-12, второй топ-3. Почему такая разница?
Ну, Знак правильно заметил касаемо, что сетка была не совсем жесткой. Для нас, короче, была удачной сеткой.
ZenAku made the right point. So the bracket was... we were lucky for the second bracket. I mean, talking about the second time.
И при игре с Макстером и Рафой мы просто стратегические решения все лучше сделали.
And when we were playing against the Rafa and Maxter, strategic solutions were way better.
Поэтому мы больше взяли квадов, и это очень сильно решило.
Therefore, we took more cards, and it made the game.
Ну, соответственно, мы прошли в финал верхней сетки.
And therefore, we got to the finals of the upper bracket.
Но мы могли выиграть и ребят ДБЕ.
But we could also win the DBE guys, yeah.
Вот, так что пусть не расслабляются ребятишки-то наши.
So I would say to them, don't relax. Come back.
That's good. Yeah.
Good attitude. I like
Give
it.
them a run for their money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Base. Thank you, ZenAku. Thank you, Soul.
Welcome.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say other than good luck in the future tournaments. If you have any last words, you can share them now. Last words. Sorry, that sounds so dramatic.
Last words, you son of a. Yeah, just thanks to all the guys that continue to support us or support Quake. Actually, it's been quite nice to play with Base because when I played Resp League, we played games. Then also, just before this 2v2 league, Base and I played this Quake 3. How do I say? The Quake 3 mod that looks like Quake Champions. And I think it's nice to really be involved with the Russian community. So I think it's a cool opportunity to, how do I say, share this experience with a community of people that I wouldn't usually be able to talk with. But because I'm playing with Base, I hope that, more English people comes to him, but actually, like, some of his Russian fans have also joined my stream and said nice words. So that's kind of been kind of nice.
Да, значит, я тоже хочу поблагодарить, во-первых, Диффенса за то, что он устраивает движуху вообще в Quake до сих пор.
I want to personally thank Defense you that you actually make those things happening. That something is going on.
То, что он и игроков поддерживал, ЦНЗ и Драмиса, это тоже респект.
That you have been supporting the players like CNZ and Dramis. That's a big respect to you.
Вот, и, конечно, для меня это тоже, на самом деле, веселое времяпрепровождение. Вот ZenAku отметил касаемо того, что комьюнити объединяется, и, английское и русское. Там скорее так, наверное, вьюверсы, его и мои.
So it's kind of a fine spending time as well, for me as well, like having a fun. That's ZenAku mentioned that there's both communities, Russian-speaking and English-speaking viewers that can both join us.
Вот. И мне ZenAku нравится играть, он спокойный, взвешенный, хладнокровный, такой мужчина с топором.
And I like to play with ZenAku because he's very calm, very strict, very straight point thinking with the axe behind his shoulders.
We should say there was just a quick thing because Base, it made me laugh so hard when we played Rafa Maxter, Rafa Maxter on Corrupted Keep, and we got the first quad and I lost it, and I was like 50 HP or something, and Maxter hits like 2 rockets, and when I have quad, I don't know, I'm playing very greedy, And afterwards, Base says, "Why you say, come run with me?" Like instead of like, I'm not like I have 50 HP, and I'm thinking like I'm fucking fine, everything's fine. And he says like, you don't say. I don't know, the way he explained it, I fucking loved it. But I'm not sure where I was going with that. Just lots of funny moments when we played together. So
yeah, I've seen that too. There's gonna be a lot of stream highlights going forward. Oh
yeah,
I think.
And,
yeah, that's the charm of it. That's why when I was gonna start this series, actually you two were the absolute first duo that I thought about, just because it was actually thanks to you that I got this idea, basically, because I was like, oh shit, look at this is a very interesting and sort of unexpected duo, right? It's nothing, personal or anything like that. I just don't think that anyone expected to see Base and ZenAku play, and I think this is also something about the Russian community that is like you can correct me if I'm wrong, and Sol, you can fill in if you want as well, but the Russian community is kind of it's very like I sometimes get the feeling that it's sometimes a little closed and they stick together, they stick together really well. So how was this is the absolute last question. How was the response when how was the response from the community when Base decided to play with ZenAku?
From my point of view, it's a good question, to be honest. I mean, well, it was unexpected, to be honest, initially. And also from my side, when I talked to Alex and was asking about how it's actually formed, like how do you decide when you choose who to play with? Because there is a big selection of variety of different players. So you can select, right, ZenAku, different from Pro League, like Max the Way, not playing with Rafa, for instance, etc. Of course, again, it's more probably the question directed to Alex when he'll be able to respond to it. But from my side, I think taking into account the latest news, like especially banning the Russian players from the Pro League, it kind of gave a big impact as well on the community itself. I think it might be the reason why the Pro League closed as well, because they kind of lost a big portion of the viewers, like ourselves, and I know lots of people from Russia. I mean, not the Russia themselves, but Russian-speaking native people, right? Like myself, I'm not from Russia. I was born in Ukraine. I was raised in Latvia, for instance, right, and been living in the UK. But we've got many, many, many people who loves Quake, and and of course that was probably a big impact on the community itself. But I think it's interesting to see at least Alex is learning English now, so he's trying to speak better. I will let answer Alex on that question, but I also wanted to ask you questions if I can, right? To you, Defense, and ZenAku afterwards, if that's possible.
Sure.
Yeah. Саш, ты дай свой ответ. Defense спросил, но он лично у меня тоже спросил. И вот твое мнение вообще, как наша комьюнити восприняла, когда они узнали, что ты вообще начал играть с ZenAku 2 на 2? То есть как ты думаешь, от твоих слов? Какое было восприятие?
Да, вообще 2 на 2, оно лично на моем канале, оно меньше в 2 раза пользуется популярностью, нежели чем дуэли.
Well, considering by the popularity of the viewing on my channel, I'm talking about my channel, the 2 versus 2 is the least, the least famous or the least common stuff. So mainly it's 1 versus 1.
Соответственно, я даже могу иногда не стримить, потому что...
Didn't hear what Base responded, so...
No, it cut off just as soon as
я уже не помню, что я говорил.
I will express and summarize it. So he said, in general, the community, Russian community attitude was good to ZenAku, very positive. No negativity from the community itself, but he was mentioning that in general, 2 versus 2 playings on his channel that were not so popular is usually what he would play in solo, and therefore he's not always streaming those games. That's the reason, as it's not that popular by the viewers. But I've got the question, if I can address it to you, to ZenAku and Defense.
Yeah.
So that's going to be slightly a bit more political. for instance, if you are managing and getting to Barcelona, Spain, what chances are that actually Russian players, it's not even only related to Alexander, it's also related to the other Russian players. So what you're thinking, what your thoughts, whether they're going to be able to come to Spain as a country, because there is a big problem right now of getting the visas. I don't know if you're aware of this, but generally it's the fact. So it's not easy to get the visa. And I'm even really doubt, even if they've got the invite or something like that. So I just wanted to ask you about what your thoughts on that.
Would you like to go first, Jacob, or do you want me to?
Yeah, sure, I can go first. I mean, it would seriously break my heart if they couldn't go. First of all, because ever since I think 2021 was the last QPL event, and even that was online, right? So it's been, and then obviously Base went to Iron Fist, so we have seen Russians at international lands, but it's still been such a rarity the past years. That so for Russians to be able to go to Barcelona, it would be so amazing just to see them like rejoin the community in a way, because even if they've been part of the community online, not being able to go to LAN is a big impact. I have to say. And what what was the other thing you asked? Like if they were gonna be allowed, or you mean by KeenCon, or you mean like by law?
I think by law, yeah, in general, like entering the country, I mean, what's the chances are to get the real visa approved and actually entering the country?
Not sure, honestly. The whole process with visa is obviously it's tough. We could see, I think, 6 players not being able to go to the US last year, and yeah, everything has become very political. It's sad to see, but I'm thinking that it's gonna work, because I feel like we've had a time now with a lot of there's been a lot of like how do you say, like a lot of conflict, a lot of bad things happening, and I think it feels like things are finally gonna turn. That's what I'm hoping anyway, but it's impossible to say. Yeah, go ahead, David.
Kind of in the same boat as Jacob. I think, likewise, maybe what we could see in a lot of things could change in 6 months. So maybe we'll be able to see, maybe the situation be eased and maybe a bit more, fluidity there. But I think it's also maybe even the context of the person. Like, for example, I'm not sure about the other, like let's take Yup, for example. When Yup was coming to America, I think that was a bit of a particular one because he was young guy, still a student going to America. Maybe that's, could look, how do I say, obviously maybe that's why it was denied. But for example, like Base's situation, he has a family, he's a bit older. I don't know. Maybe in his situation, he can get away with it. But for other Russians, I'm not sure how it's going to look. You know what I mean? But, I'm praying I'm going to be seeing Base there and we'll be playing together. I've got a feeling we will be anyway. So we're going to keep holding on to that.
Yeah, I really hope the same way. I mean, I've talked to the organizers of the KeenCon. It's Max the Friend, I think. I forgot his nickname. He's a Spanish guy. But he said officially they will support by the lettering if required. So they will probably try to send an invite like in Spanish. So for Spain as the government. And hopefully that will help the process of approving the visa. But, I know I've been dealing with the visas for Spain itself. I used to live in the UK. Yeah, that's actually how I met Alex. And I helped him along to come to the Iron Fist. That's with the visa applying. But that was a different political situation, as we all know. But really hope that, I'm pretty sure you will make it top 8. That's 100%. That's from my point of view. But I'm a bit more concerned about getting the visa because it's lots of denials right now at the moment. Even people who's got an access and etc. They try to do the paid visas and they got denied. So really fingers crossed that's going to happen. Я не знаю, Саш, переводить тебе или нет, какой мы вопрос поднимали, если интересно.
Не. Ну, я все понял, можешь не переживать.
Хорошо. Okay.
All right. So should we round off there? I feel like it's been a great interview. It's been really insightful. I want to thank you all again. And yeah, does it feel
No.
I was going to ask, and no last words for a second time?
No, just thanks for having us, and yeah, hopefully you guys will continue to support not only Quake, but obviously Base and I as a team. I'm not sure if we want to change the name Hairy Jaws. Are we sticking with Hairy Jaws?
То есть мы
Then-
оставляем название нашей команды
А что, его можно
«Волосатые
поменять?
челюсти».
We can
What,
change
what,
it?
we can
or-
change it?
I'm not sure, but I'm thinking like something Russia, Australia related, like I don't know, koala bears, or I don't know. But when I thought Hairy Jaws, I think you know what, Base writes me put team name Hairy Jaws, and I think fuck it, just write Hairy Jaws. But yeah,
you should keep it, just for the story.
for the lols, yeah.
Yeah.
Я думаю, сейчас не имеет значения. Если будет необходимость изменить, то поменяем.
Я думаю, очень серьезно воспринимаешь. Ну, окей. I think there is no reason to change it right now, so let's keep
Yeah.
it. And
Hairy
we'll have to
Jaws.
change it then. We'll change it required.
That was
Alright.
good.
Yeah, we shall see.
Хорошо,
Anyway,
на что он хотел поменять?
Which name you wanted to change to? So, он говорил, что что-то австралийско-русское связано, говорил какие-то там панды, блядь, коалы. Коалы волосатые.
Я
не
думал, что-то
волосатые,
А я
медвежьи
думал,
коалы.
что-то связано с тегом,
I thought, каким
командным
тегом?
тегом. Командным тегом, я думал, он имел в виду.
Что такое тегом?
А ты скажи, он поймет.
I thought it was really something with a tag name with our team.
Organization team tag name.
We'll
Doesn't ring
talk
a bell?
about it. No.
Стоп.
No, I don't understand now.
Он не понимает.
Я думал, он имел в виду, что изменить он хочет под какую-то организацию, которая нас спонсировать будет или
He
давать
thought-
денег,
He
как
thought
зарплату там и так далее.
You were planning to change the name according to like a sponsorship, like for a particular organization, so we could be sponsored by someone, etc. Like the money wise, and I thought that was the reason of changing the name.
No. I just
Ну,
wanted to change the
соответственно.
name because I thought it might sound better than Hairy Jaws. That I just
Просто думал, просто по звучанию будет круче другое имя, а не волосатый.
Хорошо, его вариант.
Your
Version.
variant version, yeah.
Right. We'll talk about it, but yeah, I think
Поговорим потом.
we'll leave it there.
Ну, давай отпустим человека-то.
We wanna release the fans actually to let him go.
yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. This was it was really fun, and yeah, like I said, good luck in the future tournaments. Thank you, Sol. Big thank you to you for
Sure, no problem.
just jumping in. Yeah, thank you, Base. Thank you, ZenAku.
Same.
Thank you, defense.
Thank you.
As well, very likewise.
And hopefully see you guys in Spain.
See
That
you.
was good, mate.
All right.
See you there.
See ya.
100%. See you, mate.
Yeah.